I think people are really into that, but we also talk about it every single day. So I feel like every once in a while we got to take a break from it. But I will say that as the national media outlets start to really pick it up, I know Mike Florio was on board going back a month or so, but when you have guys like that, Pro Football Talk, they have something like 1.8 million Twitter followers. I saw today Andrew Brandt and Sports Illustrated had a big article, a really comprehensive article. If you want to learn the whole history of not only this trial, but basically all the previous NFL trials that establish some precedent for what's going on in St. Louis. But when you have a Pro Football Talk, when you have a Sports Illustrated that, again, has something like 1.7 million followers, then you're starting to see more and more and more people, especially the national media, getting on board. And that matters, right? I mean, so many people follow these accounts. There's probably a lot of football fans in different markets that don't know anything about the St. Louis case. If I tell my friends on a text chain that live in California or East Coast, whatever it is, do you think they know anything about this lawsuit?
No.
They don't know anything.
No.
But
I
if
tell
they
my friends here and they don't know about it.
Right. But if you start getting the big dogs, which is funny why ESPN really hasn't come aboard, and then you see the story where Adam Schefter sent one of his stories to Bruce Allen to basically say, give me some tweaks and all that to make sure this story is accurate. And look, I get it in terms of accuracy. You want to make sure your story is legit, but do you send your whole story ready to go before it's published to a source and kind of say, hey, what do you think of this? I think that's definitely borderline there.
I'll tell you this. I do know that when some journalists, and this is on the college level, when they have a story about something that's kind of going wrong in their athletic department, I know that many writers will send the note ahead and saying, hey, this is what I'm about to write. Do you want to, is there anything you want to add or change? Or I just want you to be aware of this. I know that's happened a lot. Doesn't mean they've changed the story. But it also, I mean, we look at it, I think when we hear that kind of noise, we go, oh, so you're trying to, get this covered up. And sometimes it's, hey, I'm going to put this out there. You got anything you want to add to it that'll make the story, get some more information out of them that they normally wouldn't. I don't want to say blackmail, but it is kind of a blackmail thing where you go, I got all this information here. You got anything you want to say about this? Because I'm going to write this.
Exactly. And I also think for journalistic reasons, that's where I said I think this is kind of on the borderline. But for journalistic reasons, you want to give them the chance to comment. Right. If it's going to make them look bad, okay, we're saying this. That's either, hey, look, that's not true, or I can confirm that part of it. And there are legal ramifications as well. If you're going to say this and you haven't gone back and make sure that you have multiple people saying that and use the right language, right? So you're not, whether it's broadcast or print, you're not committing libel or slander. That goes into it too. I just think specifically, though, and Schefter is really good at what he does.
Yep.
But to me, it's more a part of the fact that who's still the worldwide leader? It's still ESPN. I understand a lot of people don't like ESPN. They think they're too liberal, which I agree with. Some of their debate shows, I don't ever watch any of those personally, but ESPN is still the worldwide leader, and they still have some of the best games. So you're always going to watch ESPN because when they have Monday Night Football, when they have the national championship game, when they have the great baseball package, when they have now, you have all kinds of different sports. You have hockey again, right? You have the NBA with ABC. So you're going to watch ESPN games. It's just funny to me how ESPN has totally ignored this story. And they're probably going to be the last one to get on board. And I do think that's because of their relationship with the NFL. All of these broadcast partners, the NFL is smart because they have a deal with all of them. You have Fox, of course, and CBS for your Sunday, your normal games, noon and 3 o'clock. You have your Sunday Night Football on NBC. You have NFL Network. Clearly, you own that. You have ESPN on Mondays. But all of these broadcast partners, I think they're towing a line there where they don't want to really embarrass the NFL, knowing that they're going to have a renegotiation down the road for their next TV package.
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it is part of that process, and in ESPN, I'll be curious when they jump on this, if they ever get on it and say, "Oh, hey, did anybody know this is happening?" How they approach it, and then who from the NFL speaks upon it on ESPN, because that'll be part of the process. Hey, we need to do some damage control here. Why don't you put Goodell on at halftime in the Manning broadcast, and we'll have a discussion about it, you know? I mean,
how do we rank this, though? How do we rank this with the NFL compared to all the other crap that happened over the years? Like in all the other stuff that happened in the NFL, like how much publicity did it really get when it was that bad? And how do you rank it? You get my – I'm bad at questions, by the way, but do you get my drift on what I'm saying? So this particular thing, like where does it rank? And then on the other things that rank above it, like how much attention did that really get at its peak?
Are you talking about specifically the St. Louis case?
I'm talking about this St. Louis case that you guys are all talking about all the time. Timmy's talking about it. He's having guys on. You're saying it's getting some legs. Where does that compare to the other big bad storylines that the NFL has partaken over the years? And like what happened afterwards?
Okay.
How do you compare it?
In my opinion, it's not even close. And a big part of this. So what I just mentioned about the broadcast partners being in bed with the NFL, that's a big part of it. Here's the other part. This is a boring story. And when I say it's boring, it's fascinating to us.
Yeah.
Here's why it's boring. You basically have to be a lawyer to understand it, right? We all try to interview as many lawyers and reporters that have been in the courtroom and different people that have legal expertise. But when you're talking about a court case where precedent matters, that's why I think everybody should go read that Andrew Brandt, the SI article. It might take you 30 minutes, though. But it's very comprehensive, and I hate to say it, people don't have the attention span for that. We barely have the attention span for that in St. Louis, let alone the fact that people across the country don't really care about this because they're not invested like we are. So, Cam, I think you bring up a great point. Part of this is trying to break down the information and communicate it easily to people so they understand what's going on. But, yeah, if you have something, go back to the really bad stories over the years. We're talking about players misbehaving off the field, whether it's Ben Roethlisberger, Michael Vick,
Ray Rice.
Go back to Ray Rice, go back to Ray Lewis. How about recently with Deshaun Watson? Okay, I hate to say it, but the old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. And when you have crime stories, when you have some of these stories involving potential alleged sex crimes, right, with Deshaun Watson, I mean, those are all over the place. The headlines grab you. They're attention grabbing. Even if you don't read the article, you have a headline that tells part of the story. You have a picture there. You can click on it. You can see, oh, my gosh, look, now there's how many women that have accused Deshaun Watson. Oh, Ben Roethlisberger now twice has been accused. And I hate to say it, but those stories, no pun intended, those sexy type of stories, that's the type of stories people click on. And it's easy to click on that story and read it and understand what's going on or what's being alleged to have happened, where you basically need a law degree to really understand. No, I'm being honest.
Charlie, I know. I'm trying to listen to it. And I can't. I'm like, what?
I'm the same way. I've interviewed now, probably 3 different lawyers, locally, nationally, reporters that have been in the courtroom, that have a national perspective, local perspective. Everybody has a different opinion, by the way. We'll see who in the end ends up being right. But, yeah, you almost need a law degree to really understand what's going on.
It's painful from that. And here's my thing on this. And I've said this. I don't care unless you're going to give me a franchise. And when you're ready to give me a franchise, let me know.
I'm the same way.
I know. We're in the business that we're in, so it's out there. But the reality is, as you just both have pointed out, and it's like, well, there's this precedent, and I don't care about any of that. I don't care. And it's like, well, hey, there's this many billion. I can't even comprehend how many millions and billions of dollars are involved. I don't care. I'm never going to see it. The only thing I'm ever going to see is a football team here in St. Louis. That's
Jimmy, you're going to trolley track in the Del Mar.
Exactly.
Again.
I don't need that. I don't need, and we can sit here and tell me, yeah, you could do a lot of good with that money, but I don't trust anybody that's in charge to be able to do that. They'll go, well, hey, you know what? We could put in new bright lights in downtown that'll help fight crime. No, we can put in new bright lights downtown and then watch everybody else commit the crime because that's all we're doing. We're just sitting there watching them do it.
What if we invested in housing, in education, Jimmy, and we gave some of these folks better opportunity to hopefully not commit crimes?
I wish we could do that.
When does that happen?
It happens all the time.
And that's just it. I wish we could do that. But it's never going to happen.
That's where
the lottery was invented when I was a kid. and it was always going to go to the schools and help us, build better schools. We still don't have good schools.
In some neighborhoods, 100%. I do think it's funny, though, because when I ask a question like this on Twitter, put a poll out there, I get all these comments on Twitter or on YouTube. And look, I'm not trying to criticize the people that say things like this. I just think we all need to get into the reality of what potentially could happen. People will say, like, I won't settle until the NFL gives us a public apology. So Roger Goodell and Stan Kroenke and Kevin Demoff sign a letter and say, I mean, come on, that's not going to happen.
No.
And the NFL doesn't.
Who cares anyway?
They don't even care.
Right.
When I say this, their amount of care for negative storylines, they really don't care about it. Do you know why? Because people tune into the negative storylines almost as much or more than the positive storylines. The reason a lot of people like sports, and this is not just a guy thing, guys and gals, but for years you had soap operas. Why do people like watching soap operas, even though I don't?
Yeah, you do.
Because
Charlie.
there's
don't
always
lie to people.
Cam, there's all this crazy drama. Everybody sleeps with everybody else. Somebody gets amnesia. People come back from the dead.
Yeah, that's
every
vertigo.
day,
Vertigo.
vertigo. Oh, my girlfriend, I just found out she's my sister. Crazy stuff like that. Oh,
Ooh.
Dad had a second kid we didn't know about. Oh, that's why people watch soap operas, because every day there's a new crazy-ass storyline. And with the NFL, I hate to say it, but even their negative storylines are interesting. So while you can say, yeah, this league sucks, they're corrupt, it's interesting. It's interesting in the way a great TV show is. If it's Breaking Bad, if it's Sopranos, some of the awfulness is interesting. Yep. Some of the murder in these shows I'm talking about. But some of the things going wrong with the NFL behind the scenes, the players behaving badly, the owners behaving badly, the league being corrupt, it's kind of gangster style interesting.
I get that. I just think that everybody in St. Louis, because we're in the biz, we listen to everything, dude. We hear whatever other people are thinking. And they're so uptight about the apology or the money and this, and, like, they're just so gung-ho about it. And it's like, then what? Like, either you get a damn team and you figure that out. Like, that is the best, in my opinion, the best case scenario. That actually moves the needle. The money stuff, like, I'm just like, and then they get it, and then what? Nothing. So it's like people are going crazy talking about it for that, and I'm like, if you get a team, I'm like, let's go. But other than that, it's like, who gives a damn?
That's where
why
I'm
it's
at.
not getting picked up.
I agree.
No one cares.
And look, this is just me, and this is how I feel. So people, they'll say, oh, you're being a homer. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm being selfish. That's worse, I think. I think it's worse. I don't even care.
Now you're on board, Charlie.
I'm literally telling you what I personally want, okay? Yes. Now, what's the best for the city? I don't know. I think it's a team long term, but I'm literally being selfish because I want to watch NFL football in St. Louis for the next 40 years. I want my kids to have an NFL team to root for. That's why I want a team. It has nothing to do with being a homer whatsoever. If the NFL settles and it's money and it's this and that, I will be disappointed. In my opinion, I really don't care unless we get an expansion franchise. That's the only.
That's it.
That's the only way that I am happy. I know nobody cares about that, but again, I'm being selfish. That's what I want. Nothing else to me matters.
Exactly. And I don't care what you guys want. Well, I want revenge. I don't care what that I think that, and in the end, as a whole, I do think that it's best for the city, the surrounding areas, businesses. If you have another NFL team, all of us, like, we're just like, yeah, let's go. The money factor, Jimmy, come on.
I'm there with you. Look,
what are we doing?
If we gave $1 million to the city of St. Louis, do we think they would be able to figure out what to do with it properly? No, they haven't. It's not necessarily this administration. It's every one of the administrations you've had. None of them. It's just, that's why when you say, well, we could do, yeah, you could, but you won't. So don't tell me you could when you don't.
Give me something I could see and feel and look at and take my kids to and do this. And Janie Mae can go. You guys have your Sunday, every other Sunday or whatever. You're going to the game, Charlie, with your kids. And, you have fun. Or your buddies or whatever. Like, what if they built up the riverfront? What if we're the arch where it gets all this attention, where people go and they never want to come back because they might get robbed?
Hey, there was a Blues story there. That was about sports, right? What happened?
So good.
It was
I'm
a sports
just saying,
story.
What if they put a badass, huge, nice facility there? Like, that is just where it's at. Maybe we're dreaming about it, but other than that, I don't give a damn.
I hear you, buddy. We're all on the same
job.
page there.